congratulations on the movie.
Thanks.
Let's start with that. Did you know when you got involved how bonkers and awesome and crazy this thing was going to be?
I mean, I didn't know the extent of it, but I've known Mad Max since I've known about Mad Max since I was 6 years old. So I knew that I was going to be getting into some sort of mischief. But I didn't know. I didn't know the extent of it. We actually signed on. I signed on to do it without even reading the script. So.
What was when you think back on the making of the film, was there a day or two that you'll always think back to? It's one of those days or few days that you're like, I can't believe we're going to survive this, or I can't believe we're doing this, or?
Not really. I mean, in 6 months, to put it down to one day that you remember is a bit hard. There are moments, I have memories of moments, but I wouldn't say there was one specific day. There was so much going on. In 6 months, a lot can happen,
100%. Was there a day, though, pranks or, you know what I mean? I'm always curious about memorable moments from filming when people remember back.
I mean, maybe there was a day where, in the film I get yanked out of the sunroof of the car just by the arm and the bicep of a 7-foot giant, Rictus erectus. And I just he kept having to pull me out so many times, and he got angry, and my shoulder was hurting, and the metal was scraping my stomach, and I think he pulled me out of that car 20 times. So I'll always remember that day.
That qualifies in what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So in the last little bit since you shot Mad Max, you've done 2 other movies, and you're working on one, I guess, right now.
I've done 3, actually.
My bad. My count is off. What did you always know you wanted to go to this? To be an actor, or do you know what I mean?
No. It's interesting, that one. I got booked on Mad Max through my modeling agency, and I'd never considered acting was something. I don't know. I'd never even considered it really. And as soon as I got booked for it and I landed on set, I was like, this is where I was meant to be my whole life, sort of thing. I really had a moment of an epic shift in my entire life, really. It changed everything for me, and it's funny that I never thought about it, because now when I think about who I was as a child and the things that I was interested in at school and it seems like I was leading towards that my whole life without actually realizing it.
Well, the thing is, in my opinion, and obviously I've done a lot of modeling work, clearly, it does seem like there's an element of acting when it comes to modeling.
There can be, if you choose to be like that, it's sort of like I had to act as though I enjoyed it.
that definitely qualifies.
Which I started to fail in quite badly, and got a pretty bad reputation for myself for being a little nasty, but yeah, I don't know. There's something about the relationship with a camera that I think, obviously modeling and acting has that in common, but apart from that, they're very different worlds. The less you say, the better a model you are, generally, whereas with acting, it's all about how much you have to say, and.
What have you learned in the last few years since Mad Max and these recent projects that maybe you wish you could tell yourself back on day one of Mad Max? Acting advice, or or maybe you got some good advice on a set and it's stuck with you.
I don't know. It's a funny one. I don't know if there's anything in specifically that I'm still learning so much. That's the thing. Every time I do a film, I still learn so much. But really, so far, what's gotten me by is my instincts. My raw instincts with each character, and that's kind of what I was doing with Mad Max, and that's what I've continued to do thus far. I mean, I'm sure there's going to get to a point where I should be getting some sort of professional training and stuff. Maybe I should have done it all along, but I don't know. I guess maybe with Mad Max, it's hard for me to look back at it and wish that I had done it differently, because I have to give myself a little bit of leeway in it being my first film.
Oh, no, totally. I don't even mean it like that. I mean, sometimes, certain actors, directors have given advice, and that advice has really stuck with you. I've gotten advice with my business, and it's something that's always stuck with me.
I mean, someone once told me not long ago that you should always make best friends with the DP.
That's very good advice.
You know, they're the ones lighting you and making the decisions on where the camera goes. So
That
I was pretty tight with the DPs regardless of knowing that. So I don't know, but that's something I'll always remember.
I just did a set visit on Neon Demon a few nights ago, which I believe you're a part of.
Yeah.
What has it been like for you? Because I got to watch some filming, and it was, I'm a huge fan of.
What day were you there? Oh, wait, who was shooting that day?
Elle was filming stuff, and Keanu came by to talk, and, but
yeah.
a hotel sequence.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But what has your experience been like making the film and collaborating?
I mean, it's so different to Mad. You know, it couldn't be more different to Mad Max. The pace is much slower. It's a very slow pace in terms of the way that Nicholas goes about shooting, and it not being an action film. Also, it's much more mind-bending and mentally intense. And for me, the character that I'm playing is very close to home. So for me, it's been a mixture of somewhat cathartic, but also a little bit daunting, having to go to places in my mind that, are not necessarily the happiest of places,
I'm a big fan of Alex Price, and you worked with him on Gods of Egypt. What was the experience like working and collaborating with him, and who do you play?
I play an albino serpent-riding assassin.
Very much based on reality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's again. I mean, I seem to book such weird roles. That was different again because it was all CGI and it was much more physical. I don't say much in that film. There was I did months and months of weight training and weapon training. So it was mostly about learning how to fight, which, to be fair, that's sort of why I got the role, because I did martial arts for years as a kid. So I was sort of already ahead of maybe someone who hadn't done anything before. But yeah, that was very physical, and it was all CGI. So it was like I was saying my lines to a tennis ball.
That had to be that's reconnecting with your childhood imagination.
Yeah, exactly, which goes back to me talking about realizing that I should have been doing it my whole life. That's what I spent most of my time doing, climbing trees and speaking to imaginary fairies.
Before you got into acting and modeling, did you have a real shitty job? Did you have like a worst job, and what was it?
I did so many shitty jobs. I was a basketball referee, and I'd ref like 6 games in a row and then play one at night. I mean, that's like so boring. And I'd get like $6 a game, like for hours and hours. I worked at a hot dog stand at the football. I also used to stick corn at the fun fairs, and I remember one time I was out the back like hammering sticks into cobs of corn for them, them to cook, and there was a chairlift thing above me, and kids were like spitting on me and throwing shit at me. So yeah, I've had some pretty shit jobs.
Something though, I think a lot of people will enjoy hearing that, because it just shows that like no matter what you do, there's always, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was also a checkout chick, and I worked at a bakery. I mean, here's the thing is like I in Australia you have to be 14 and 9 months to legally work. And I'm pretty sure the day I was 14 and 9 months I was out there getting a job. I didn't come from wealth, so if you wanted to do something fun on the weekend, I had to make the money for it. So I've been working since I was, for more than half my life.
I've been playing a game with some people recently called Save or Kill.
Okay.
One of these you can save. These are not hard questions. One of them you can save. One of them is erased from existence forever. What do you save?
God.
Ready? Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Mario or Zelda?
Zelda.
Mad Men or The Wire?
The Wire.
NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Can I kill both?
So you've saved neither.
Yeah.
You can.
Okay, sick.
Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones?
Breaking Bad.
Okay. No, that's fine. What?
Did I win?
No. It's just I've been compiling this from everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. For the future, obviously you mentioned you've played these interesting roles. Are you trying specifically to like land a romantic comedy or a comedy or you know what I'm saying? Like more grounded character?
No, never. I have a lot of interest in doing ethereal characters in big, wild, creative films, and then I also have a lot of interest in playing raw, emotionally driven characters with heart and soul. To do rom-coms and The Girl Next Door is just not it. I just don't want to spend my time doing something that I'm not overly passionate about, and right now at this moment in my life I don't think you're going to see many of those, and who knows, I might in 10 years time decide that I think I'm funny and cute.
That's good. What's coming up for you next? And that's my last question.
I don't know. I've got 3.5 more weeks of shooting Neon Demon, and then I'm probably going to go to the premiere of Reuben Guthrie that's happening in Sydney. They got asked to open the Sydney Film Festival, so I might go down for that. And I don't know. I just see what happens.
It sounds cool. Let me hit stop and say thank you for your time.